Twin Towers. So on TV there was an announcement. We may be down now, but we will stand back up, and our resolve is not affected. Our resolve to recover is as strong as it could have been. So that's purposefulness. Jesus has shown this purposefulness very effectively. You remember, Jesus knew what's going to happen to him in Jerusalem, right? He knew that he was going to be killed in Jerusalem. But that didn't hinder or not even discourage him. I need to go to Jerusalem, he says. I have to go to Jerusalem. So the disciples were saying, why would you go to Jerusalem? They're going to kill you there. They're waiting for you and they'll kill you. I'm going to Jerusalem. You see? You know the purpose, you know where you're headed to, and you're just keep it and then just keep on. Let nothing stop you. That's purposefulness. Philippians 3:13. There's a lot of Bible verses here. Do you remember this gospel? This is the gospel last 2 weeks actually, when Jesus was inviting. Remember, there was a reading on Jesus invited Matthew. As Jesus was passing by, he called Matthew. Matthew was at work, right? He was on his computer and he was on his phone. He was busy with his job and he was covered with so many papers. And then Jesus, passing by, what did Jesus say? What did Jesus say? Follow me. That's what Jesus said to Matthew. Follow me. He didn't say anything else. What did Matthew do?
Follow him.
He stood up and left everything behind and followed Jesus. Wow. Who can do that among us? Can you say, oh, can I say goodbye first to my family? No. And Jesus says, if you do that, you're not worthy of me. You cannot be my follower. Does that mean we should ignore our family? No. That's not what it means. What it means is Jesus should be number one. Jesus is more important than your family. That's what he meant by that. Anyone who sets the hand on the plow and looks back is not worthy to be my follower, that's what he says. Right? Again, talking about stability on the other side, stability. People, oh, I wanna follow you. I wanna know you. I want Bible class. But I have to watch the drama on TV. Ooh, Dancing with the Stars. Ooh, what else? Whatever. America's Got Talent.
That's why they got DVR now.
You see the point? Something's in the way. Something is more important. All of those is on purposefulness. I mean, how firm are we to keep our focus and continue on? We continue on regardless. Forget about hindrances, forget about obstacles along the way. There will be obstacles, there will be problems, there will be insults, there will be ridicules. Forget about all those. Just keep on. If you want to be a disciple of Jesus, keep your focus, keep your purpose. James 1:14. There's also Matthew 6:24.
serve God as long as we live here.
That's probably on the interim.
To
In
learn
the
all
final analysis, our ultimate purpose is to go to heaven.
Oh, yeah. That go.
To be with God ever after. Eternally. No end. That's Psalm 27:4 says. There's one thing I ask of the Lord, and this alone I seek. I seek nothing else. And the writer says, the psalmist says, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. That's all I seek. Forget about anything else. All I seek is to dwell in the house of the Lord. What does that mean? To be in heaven. Number 2. Perseverance. What's perseverance? You know, on the way to Jerusalem, I don't know if you know the geography of Israel. Nazareth is down south, but Nazareth is north of Jerusalem. And where they were way up north. Way up north. And they have to head south, going to Jerusalem. Strictly speaking, Jerusalem is not part of Israel. Strictly speaking. It's actually part of Palestine. That's why there's so much conflict. But Israel, strong that she is, occupied Jerusalem. This is our capital city. So Jesus was headed down south. Can you imagine that? Can you visualize that? So Jesus was headed down south. Now on the way to, it's just like going to Atlantic City, for example. You have to pass by what? You have to pass by Red Bank, right? You have to pass by some other towns. Brunswick, right? Now, Jesus, on the way to Jerusalem, had to pass by Samaria. Samaria was on the way down south. And what happened in Samaria? You don't blame the Samaritans, because the Samaritans and the Jews, they just hate each other. And you know the story behind it, right? Because the Jews won't accept the Samaritans because they had mixed marriages. They were not pure Jews, that's what they're saying. In other words, they're from concentrate. Whereas the Jews are 100% Jews. You know what I mean?
And they worship other gods.
They didn't like the Samaritans because they were not pure Jews. Because of the mixed marriages. And naturally, the Samaritans would have their own temple. Did you know that? The Samaritans would have their own temple apart from the temple in Jerusalem, and they would worship their own God. And so the hatred is so much so that when Jesus passed by Samaria, he was not welcome. And what did the apostles say? You want me to send lightning and thunder and strike them all? The apostles were saying that. You want us to pray that they be stricken with lightning? By the way, that's not a valid prayer. You cannot pray that, oh Lord, please have this guy killed. You cannot do that prayer. It's an invalid prayer. Because the subject is illegal. So, that's what happened in Samaria. And what did Jesus say? Let's persevere. Let's keep on. Let's keep on. When you proclaim the kingdom, chances are you will meet impossible people. You will meet indifference. You probably encounter ridicule. You probably, I'm not new to that. I have experienced that myself. So I expected that. And what do you need? What do you need to have to continue on? Perseverance. Right? That's what you need. Perseverance. Matthew 10. Yes, persevere. Just like some people, I've been hearing that. Oh, Pope John Paul II is the last Pope. Did you hear that? Pope John Paul II is the last Pope. There will not be a next Pope because the church will cave in and collapse and end of the world or something.
They're saying that?
Yeah, I heard that. And what happened after JP2?
Well,
Oh,
the world ended, we collapsed.
It's the other way around. See, that's the thing. The church continues on. Why? Because Jesus said so. Last night I was watching former ex-Mormons, and they were explaining the Mormon faith. It's astonishing. It's astonishing. To be a Mormon means to believe in what Joseph Smith says and forget about where it came from.
yeah, they emphasize a lot on
Oh yes,
Joseph Smith.
There's this golden thing, whatever that was. Golden tablets.
Also, yeah.
Golden tablets that Joseph Smith said God gave him. The angel Moroni gave him to write down. And so where are the golden tablets? And give them back to the angel. So how in the world can we check that now?
Gotta look for the angel.
No golden tablets. And then the Gospel of Abraham, was it? Yeah, the Gospel of Abraham. That he bought from a yard sale. There was a yard sale, a guy named Chandler who was in Ohio peddling sort of artifacts from Egypt. And Joseph Smith bought some mummies and also some scrolls. And some scrolls, and when Joseph Smith saw those scrolls, oh, I know this is the book of Abraham. And he purportedly translated it, and he came up with the book of Abraham added to the book of Mormons became, according to them, part of their Bible. Now, the good thing is, the experts, the real Egyptologists, got a hold of the scroll, and they studied it, and guess what happened? It had nothing to do with Abraham. It had nothing to do with Abraham. In fact, they were just praying for a dead priest, Egyptian priest. That was just a prayer for an Egyptian priest. So Joseph Smith just made them all out himself. And they could prove it. That's why, according to what I heard from there, by the hundreds, by the thousands, a lot of ex-Mormons are leaving the church. I don't know if it's true. A lot of them are leaving the church because we cannot be. I feel like I'm stupid. Somebody said. I feel like I'm stupid, and my whole family. We have to get out of this as soon as possible, because this is a false faith. This is farce. This is he was an imposter, something like that.
Not only that he was an imposter, the fact that he was a sinner, unlike
Absolutely.
Jesus, who's not. You
Right.
know, and I cannot follow a sinner like me.
Right.
And that was my interpretation, which kept pondering on my mind. And I've learned a lot of good things that drove me, that actually pushed me back into my church. But more so, it was that I couldn't look, you know, like, I couldn't respect someone who was a sinner. I mean, how can I go after someone like that?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. He was assassinated, by the way.
Yes, he was.
He was shot.
Very brutally.
And not only that, he was shot and then he fell from a window. When he was down on the ground, they kept shooting him to make sure he's dead.
Well, there was a torture moment where they put him in jail and they put tar over him.
But why?
Hot tar.
Why did they? Why did?
Well, very simple. He had an SNL that went broke, and it cost a lot of people money.
Right.
You think they would bother because
Oh,
they
that's
didn't like
right.
his religion?
That's right. There was a bank that went bankrupt, and a lot of people lost money. And you're talking 19th century here.
Back in the 1800s.
I mean, money had so much value at the time, a whole lot more than now, than today. And they lost thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's like he fooled them, and where'd the money go? Temples. Where'd the money go?
Kind of like with John Corzine, $1.2 billion. Where did it go?
Where did the money go?
Gee, I don't know. Maybe there's a hole in my pocket. So Joseph Smith has lots of company.
Number 3 is poverty.
I'm sorry. Maybe.
As you can see, it's almost related to the one on the other side. You know, I'm a secular Franciscan, and one of the 3 vows is poverty. What does poverty mean? You have to be poor? Well, for one thing, I am and have been and I always will be poor, so nothing will change.
Oh, you middle class.
What does that poor mean?
Poor in spirit? No.
No easy compromise. Maybe the first time you hear this about poverty. No easy compromise with sin.
Well, gotta break that down.
Let's say, I always give examples, you know that. Let's say you're really out of money, financially handicapped, you're in bad need of money, and then you meet someone, you know, I can make you rich tomorrow. Really? How? Join us. It's something illegal, but you'll have plenty of money. Poverty is no easy compromise with sin. It's a discipline of discipleship. It's hard. You're a learner of theology, you're a learner of God. You have to keep poverty. You gotta remain in poverty. Next. Promise. What does this mean, promise? What does it mean to be prompt?
On time.
You're not late. Readiness. Okay, it's time to move and evangelize. Are you ready?
Maybe next time, maybe next year.
Maybe never. You're not responsive. And you're not ready. You're not ready. That means you lack promptness.
So like ready to serve at any time.
At any time. In the Epistle of Peter, he says, you got to be ready to defend your faith, your hope. Defend your faith, defend your hope. With or without notice. Are you? Am I? If you only religiously come and learn all these things, and even learn like 10% and keep about 10% of what you hear, you would have been a great evangelizer by now. Even just 10% of what we take up here. You may not remember the Bible verses, but you remember the principle involved. I guarantee you that.
Psalm 95.
You know what's this song? You hear this all the time in the Mass. If today you hear His voice,
Harden.
harden not your hearts. 2 Corinthians 6:2. What does that say? Behold, now, today, right now, is the day of salvation. It's not tomorrow, it's not next week, right now. Would you say Jesus is not patient with us?
Oh, he is.
When he says, follow me, right now. Wait, can I go to Belleville first? Can I go to a Korean store or Chinese food? I'm hungry. Next permanence. What does permanent mean? Constant, consistent, right? Those are the synonyms.
That's trying to look for
What is it? How can that be a principle of discipleship?
focus.
You know, when we started the class, there were many people. It's just an example. Oh, we love, yes, we want to study the Bible. We want to hear the word. We want to hear the gospel. Verse by verse. Let's go. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. After 6 weeks, we have less people. After 10 weeks, even less people. In other words, the interest started up way up high, and then what? Dwindles down. The interest is not permanent. The interest is not consistent or constant. It changes. Now, of course, it's expected because not only God is changed, it does not change. Only God remains the same. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. But we change. In what way do we change? Our interest, our enthusiasm changes. Even our age changes. Our physical looks change. Yes?
Yes.
Do you know that we're older now by 1 year from last year?
Definitely.
But that's a fact. Okay? There's a second part of this, but I will give it to you next week.
Can you please elaborate a little more on number 3? Because I'm trying to
Sure. Poverty?
yeah,
Sure.
somehow.
Discipleship is learning. Keep that in mind. Discipleship is learning. And what we're saying is, if we are to learn about the Word of God, we have to be poor. That's what in effect we're saying. So what does it mean to be poor? One is there's no easy compromise with sin. And the other is there's nothing more important than God. Because if we have possessions, before coming here, we were just watching TV. I was watching with her. And there's a family that's so rich. They have everything. But they're actually engaged in smuggling diamonds. So they have plenty of money. Right? Eros.
I don't want to.
Now, if you have excessive possessions, so engrossed with whatever activities you're engaged in. You have no time to study. You have no time to learn about God. That's why I always say to God, give me this. I want this, and I pray for this, but if this will cost me, if this will be the reason for me stopping what I'm doing, I don't want it. You understand? I want money as long as it helps me and it promotes what I'm doing for God. But once it comes in the way and hinders me otherwise, I don't want it. Poverty. Okay?
So almost you will serve God to the point of becoming poor and beyond.
I'm not really saying literally becoming poor, like panhandler or something. No, what I'm saying is, you want to learn about God and serve God, guess what? And God is your primary thing.
Number one.
So like when Jesus told the rich man, if you want to serve me, sell all your possession.
Yeah.
And he left.
He didn't really mean that.
He was sad.
But he misunderstood. The thing is, he misunderstood because he was thinking like you and me. That's why he could comprehend that. So what happened? He just walked away. The reason he walked away was because he didn't understand. What Jesus was saying is, take me first before your possessions. Take God first before your possessions, and you'll be fine. In other words, what good does it do you if you earn the whole world, if you get the whole world, and you lose your soul?
Yeah.
That's meaningless.
Okay, now it's getting clear.
Or help your neighbors.
Now let's get your weekly Bible
Use
notes.
your money in the glory of God.
I recommend that you read last week's materials. I understand that I wasn't able to discuss this with you, although I discussed this in YouTube. So you can see that. Now we're doing July 7th, 14. July 7th, 14.
Less than 2 hours.
Last Sunday, let's set a blaze for souls. Loving souls without limits. This reminds me of St. Peter. He was asking, I heard this from one talk of one priest. And Peter asked Jesus, how long shall we do this, what we're doing? We just keep giving. As if he gets tired of it. It's so tiring every time we go out and we keep giving, give. When do we stop this?
Maybe he was looking for a result and it wasn't coming.
Probably, St. Peter says that. You know what Jesus said?
I stopped giving you.
You only stop giving when I stop giving you.
You. So you have to continue.
When God, stop giving you, then you can stop giving.
And that's not going to happen.
It will never happen.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful? Did you know that that's one of the big messages last Sunday? Very big message last Sunday. Did you hear that? What can I say?
I can't remember.
Christ is to be known through me. Christ uses his divine power. You know, what this means, bottom line is, when people see you, they see Jesus. When people see you, when people talk to you, they feel encouraged. They feel the hope. They feel all the hope and all the enthusiasm and all the love. What if people see you and they feel hatred and they want to kill you? You probably don't appear like Jesus to them. So Christ is to be known through us. Jesus uses his divine power to multiply himself. Remember, he sent 72 out. 72 disciples. He sent 72 disciples, 2 by 2. And by doing that, Jesus has duplicated himself 72 times. Remember, Jesus had no feet but ours. Jesus has no tongue but ours. Jesus has no eyes but ours. Of course, that's not literal. He has no those.
Well, yeah.
It's from our perspective.
Well, and the fact that we partake of him,
Yes.
and at every Mass, he lives within us.
One good thing is, I underlined for you this week. Sometimes I'm not able to, but this week I was able to. Number 3, in the end, lambs conquer. Remember, like lambs among the wolves. I should not think that opposition and contradiction mark the end of my mission. Rather, they are a sign of its authenticity. You know something? When people start ridiculing you, when people start criticizing you, when people start saying bad things about you, if you study the Bible carefully, you know that it's one sign that you are the truth. You are on the side of the truth. And that's true. That's true. When you are on the side of the truth, there will be people who hate you to the bone. That's what happened to Jesus. They will never accept Jesus. Of course they saw what Jesus did. They saw the miracles Jesus performed. But that didn't matter anyway. They just hated him, and there's no way they would accept Jesus. But in the end, we are guaranteed, in the end, the lambs conquer. In the end, we will win. God will win in the end. The good will win. So being a lamb among wolves implies that the wolves are best defeated by the meekness and simplicity. Those 2 words must be highlighted if you have a way to do that. Meekness and simplicity. The word meekness does not mean you are shy. No? The word meekness does not mean you are weak. No way. And you know what simplicity means. Monday, faith is all powerful. Awaiting our move. This is the story of, let me see. Oh, the daughter of Jairus. The daughter of Jairus. If I can, let me see. A woman suffering from hemorrhages for 12 years. Remember that? And then she touched the hem of his cloak. If I can only touch his cloak, I shall be cured. Courage, daughter, he says. Your faith has saved you. I wanted to highlight that part of the gospel reading.
About the woman suffering?
If I can only touch his cloak, I shall be cured. That's the 5th line in the gospel. Line 5 of the gospel on Monday. And then next to that, your faith has saved you. That should be highlighted as well. Next line. Your faith has saved you. What does that mean? Just saying Jesus is Lord, just attending conferences and meetings, going to Mass every day. If you don't have faith, you're still condemned. Unfortunately, some people think if they pray the rosary before Mass or during Mass, and they attend Mass every time, they'll be saved. That's false. That's false. What you do will never save you. It's your faith that will save you.
Yeah, without faith, we cannot serve God.
That's what I was saying from the beginning, right? How can you serve Him if you do not love Him? How can you love Him if you do not know Him? And How can you know Him if you don't study? So number one, awaiting our move. So often we see problems around us and expect God to solve them. Oh Lord, I have nothing to eat tonight. It's almost 9 o'clock and I still haven't eaten dinner. Okay, do I sit here and wait for your grace? No. You don't sit and wait. That's long. What you do is, you do something about it. And God will show you the way and God will help you. God knows our problems better than we do. Guess what? God does not act until He sees an act of faith in our part. God must see an act of faith in our part before God does something. Number two, the touching moment. This kind of faith speaks volumes. What does this mean? Word and action. We cannot believe with just words. We cannot believe with just words. There has to be action. You remember, 4 weekends ago, the gospel was, there was this paralytic that was brought before Jesus. They opened the roof, they dropped down this man, right? Because there was no room, it was so crowded, and Jesus was inside. So they opened the roof, and they dropped this man. Well, not suddenly, but slowly. And then what happened? What happened to the man? He was cured. But the Pharisees would still condemn him. The Pharisees would still not take him, not accept him. So Jesus said, which one is easier? To say that this man is cured or get up and walk? Which one is easier? You know, it's easy. If I pray over you, oh, you're done. You're saved. You're cured. That's easy. But if I see this person walk or get cleansed, or let's say this guy cannot walk and then walks. This guy was blind and now can see. That's the harder part. Yes? That's the harder option. And yet Jesus opted for the harder one because of those non-believers around him. That's why he asked, which one is easier? So I won't do that. I'll do the harder one so you can see. Tuesday, how do you feed a hungry heart? Let's move on fast now. Christ's will is the happiness that people relentlessly pursue at heart. Indeed, seeing with Christ's eyes. Beg the harvest master to send out laborers to gather his harvest. Do you think many are willing to serve God?
No.
Not many?
No.
You know, even in the church, let's talk about the church. Anyone interested in singing, join the choir? Anyone who wants to be a lecturer? Anyone who wants to serve at the altar? They look down. They look around. Nothing. But once you tap them, hey, you, come on. You serve. You think they will?
More often than not.
More often than not, they will. That's what this means. The seeing with Christ's eyes. Matthew, follow me. That's it. You think Matthew could have been a disciple of Jesus otherwise? No. He would just stay as tax collector. And yet Jesus says, follow me. And he did. He did follow me.
Because I think Jesus himself had faith in what he said.
Of course, he's God.
He follow me. And like, he chose him.
Yeah.
And it was already destined. And Matthew didn't have a choice. He felt like, I've been noticed. This man's got something good.
Maybe Rita can try it on Sunday. You are the 10 o'clock mass, right? And you know I'm at the 8:30 mass. 10 o'clock, try it. Grab the microphone. It says, follow me. Let's see who will.
No, not at the church though. There was a priest there already ahead of me.
Well, have the priest say that. Follow me. Look at the last sentence here. Many more are ready for what we have to say than we think they're ready. We should not fear being apostles. See, that's the problem. It's fear. It's always fear. That's our common enemy all the time.
The fear.
Remember on the other side, it was talking, be aware. Be aware. Be aware of the risks, but be not afraid. Just keep on. You know there are risks. Just keep on. God will protect you. Diligent preparations. Christ fully satisfies people's hunger for God, in spite of misery, pain, and self-indulgence. Do you know that the graver a sinner you are, the more God loves you and wants you back? Of course, that's not a very good thing to say to the big-time sinners.
No,
Because the more they will do it.
he came for sinners. Just like he said, the doctor is for the sick.
Yes. I came here not for the well, but for the sick, for the sinners. Wednesday, choosing an apostle. Jesus needs apostles. Let me tell you something. Jesus would always wish to use people to achieve his aim. To spread the faith by word and deed, and to build his kingdom. Number 2, the calling. Only 12 received the explicit call to be apostles. What we are chosen for in life, no one else can fulfill it. We're called by name. We are special, you know that? No one else can do what you've been destined to do.